I'd like to welcome this motion and to thank the independent group for bringing it forward. The vision it sets out would serve the people of Galway and of the West well, and I welcome, as always, the inclusion of the Western Rail Corridor. The Western Rail Corridor is rightly included as one of the key demands in this motion. This is yet another motion from the opposition calling on the government to begin construction. It's a turnkey project, as we have said many times before, and all the planning is in place. With the political will, we could commence the work in a matter of months. The Western Rail Corridor has the potential to revitalise Western communities, provide alternative transport options for people and deliver the much-needed regional connectivity. And the Western Rail Corridor has become a byword for regional development and investment in the West. We just have to maximise the potential of the Atlantic Economic Corridor with sustainable investment in the Western Rail Corridor, Ireland West Airport, telecommunications, roads and education infrastructure. I welcome this week that the Northern and Western region are set for an investment of €217 million up to 2027 through the European Regional Development Fund. So they recognise what needs to be done to support regional development funding because of the disadvantage of the area and the state that the west of Ireland is in and rural Ireland is in. They recognise that. But you see, without the Western Rail Corridor, what they can do there is going to be limited. It is the elephant in the room. Everything is going to be constrained until we get the Western Rail Corridor open. And the publication of the economic report by Dr. John Bradley last year confirmed that what Sinn Féin have been saying for years, that there's a strong business case for the Western Rail Corridor and that it should be reopened and prioritised as a capital infrastructure project. It is a huge source of frustration given the repeated failures to progress the project. For the Mayo Regional Development, it's no longer an optional extra, but an absolute urgent necessity. The Western and North West of Ireland has been downgraded to a lagging region by the European Commission after becoming significantly poorer relative to the European average, as I said, and that's why this extra money is coming, but it has to. We just absolutely have to reopen the Western Rail Corridor. But the current unprecedented hikes in the cost of fuel reinforce the need for improved public transport services in the west of Ireland, with rail connectivity a top priority. Investing in the public transport is always needed. It's also needed from an environmental standpoint. You know, we're telling people, well, you can't cut turf, but but we won't open the Western Rail Corridor that would take so many cars off the road and so much transport off the road. The Environmental Protection Agency has already warned the urgent implementation of the climate policies is needed for Ireland to meet its climate targets, and added that if additional measures are not taken before 2030, just 11% of the reduction in carbon emissions will be achieved by then. The sectoral emissions ceiling for transport, approved by Government in July 2022, sets an emissions reduction target of 50% by 2030 relative to 2018 levels. And the Green Party have been in government now for 2.5 years. What progress have we seen on the public transport? We just need to get this happening. Everyone needs to get behind this. There's cross-party support for this project, but it needs the government. And there's 3 parties now in government, and I know that Eamon Ryan actually recognises this himself. We cannot have a situation as well where the DUP are holding up the All-Ireland Rail Review. This cannot be used as an excuse not to reopen the Western Rail Corridor. And the Minister also needs to make it absolutely clear that the line will be protected in Sligo and that the Greenway will be financed separately, not on the rail line. These two complement each other. One isn't given preference before the other. Thank you, Minister.